Welcome to another episode of Tranquil Dialogue, where peaceful, candid, and entertaining conversations take place. Thanks, Torrance University, for providing us with a safe space to talk it all out. I'm Jen.
I'm Etel.
And we're joined by two beautiful women to discuss a very important topic on healing. I'll request our guests to introduce themselves.
Hello guys, my name is Josephine Komen. I am the current Miss World Finalist 2024 for Top Model, and also I am the Young African of the Year 2024, courtesy of African Community Council, and also the Young Kenyan of the Year 2024 as well.
Oh, the title.
I know, right? How does that make you
Top
feel?
Model Australia, right?
Top
Yes.
Model
Yes.
Australia, yes.
Beautiful.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel fulfilled.
Yeah, that's good.
Because I didn't expect it, but no, definitely it makes me feel finally something that I've been working on is being seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got beautiful Miss J.
Hello, my name is Jay. I'm an emerging social worker and I'm big on women's rights. You can call me a feminist
Yeah.
if I am.
What do you understand when somebody talks about healing? I know we've heard that word a lot of times, but what's your understanding of healing?
So for me, healing is a long journey. It's a process, but we say it's not a destination, it's a journey. And during this journey, what works for me is not going to work for you. It's going to be different for her. That journey is going to be different for someone else. And our journey differs. Well, what are we actually healing from? You know? And it is very important to heal from any kind of trauma. It could be from a relationship, and it could be even from a childhood trauma, or just sometimes you feel you're not being understood, or you're being misunderstood by even a friendship, in a friendship, you know? So for me, I have come from a 8 years long marriage, and I just decided to walk out last year. And if you ask me, have I healed? No, I'm still working on myself. I'm still fighting my demons. It's not something you can't achieve. Yes, you can heal fully, and you can be again yourself before the world told you what you are. No, you can't do this. You need to do this. And yes, it has been it still is very difficult journey for me.
Yeah.
I can't.
I'm from an African background, and being divorced from your culture,
Yeah.
is there a discrimination, or are you walking on eggshell when you're among other people?
Of course, there's social stigma, that social norm that we have, especially the countries we come from, India and Africa, most of the Asian countries, where even though it's men's fault, women will be looked down upon, that it's maybe she's
It's
not
never
right.
the man's fault.
Yeah, maybe she done something wrong, you know. And yes, I have avoided the society, and there was a point where I isolated myself to the point where I wouldn't even see my family. I wouldn't talk to anyone. And it has been really difficult to deal with the people where they have seen me, okay, she's happy, she's with her husband, she has a perfect life, but they don't know what's actually going on in my life. And dealing with that stigma, it was one of the greatest challenges I have come across during this process.
Healing is not about mending what's broken. It's not about you trying to fix yourself. It's you trying to restore yourself back to who you are. Trying to go back to a whole human being. Because people think, because someone is going through a healing journey, they're broken or No, it's you trying to go back to who you are before the circumstances that happen in your life. So it's more so going back to who you are and being gentle in yourself. You don't have to hide away and say, I'm healing. So it's like people look at you and think you're broken, you're going through depression. No, it's just you understanding that this has happened to me, and I need to bring myself back, restore my energy, restore who I am, and pick up from where the places that you are there, be present at that moment, and just pick up from there and go.
I think it's hard to do that though.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
I think, as you said earlier, Jay, society looks at you as the failure,
Yeah.
as the person who's caused this disaster. And how do you really overcome that? I almost feel like you can't. And please forgive me, for those of you who can see, but if you can't see, I can see you have something that looks like a wedding ring on your finger. This other one. Are you married again, or why is that still there? Is it to scare people? Because I know some people do that.
Yeah.
Eventually, they put something on just so society. Some people could even be divorced 5-10 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
But they still put something on so people in the world don't see what's happening behind closed doors, even though you're separated.
Yeah.
You and your husband know you're separated. I'm not sure if that's the case here
No,
or what.
yes,
that
I have done.
signifies.
I've done this a
You've
few
done
times.
that?
I put rings in my finger ring just to pretend, yes, I'm still married.
Why is that?
It's again the social stigma, because we have brought up in the society where you have to present yourself. Yes, I'm, especially for women. It's also, there are other expectations for society from men, but for a woman, you have a lot of pressure. You have to be a perfect wife. You have to be a perfect mother, and even a daughter. And when they see you have decided, especially when women choose to leave the marriage, it's a big deal.
Our parents or our ancestors or our grandmothers and these people died with a lot of unsolved issues just because you're told, you have to endure. They died with a lot of unhealed trauma.
Yes.
And it's like you were being controlled. You have to endure the beating. You have to endure, So sometimes that even it's passed down to us unknowingly.
Yes. Because, I agree with you. Traumas, if they are unhealed, they will transfer from generation to generation. We all have seen our mothers struggling, they all have the issue, but the way they have been programmed by the society that they can't leave. Now we are more aware of our rights, and we have more, even my parents supported me, but maybe back in those days, families wouldn't support them. They would rather choose their daughter to die in the husband's house than to bring them back home. So
that's a big deal. You're very lucky. Yeah, your parents supported you, and I know for a lot of families, not necessarily. And I think particularly in India, it's quite different.
Yeah.
There's the caste system, and then there's the dowry, and it doesn't matter what you're facing. You have to stay in that relationship.
Yes.
But I've heard some not so pleasant stories, and I'm like, how is this still happening?
But those stories happen in Africa as well, right?
They do everywhere.
They do happen in
Some of
Africa.
it are quite, I think the level of it is quite different, and it's openly practiced, I would say, a bit more from what I've heard on the other end of the world.
But the thing with traumas and all these things that happen to us is almost a belief, because if you don't believe that what's happening in their culture, when they do it, they don't believe it's bad. Because when a group of people believe in something, they don't see it as bad. Same as Christians, we practice this for years and years and years, and then you, on the other side, looking at it, you think it's different. But I feel like sometimes in this generations that we have to break away from our cultures, our families sometimes, and just look at things from a different perspective, Sometimes you just do things just because your mom did it, because your grandmother did it, not because it's the right thing. That's why I even have arguments with my mother sometimes, and I say, listen, just because you did that for that long, I will not do it. And now growing up in this, Generation Z, we look at things the way it is,
Everybody's like,
But is that
I need
right?
to heal.
It's not right.
Sometimes I think your Gen Zs need a bit of
I need to heal.
discipline.
No, listen, the thing is, we are vocal, we speak up, and that's what like many people don't like. Our parents, they used to do things, you see their kids doing things, and like, just keep it in the family. Your parents will fight, your mom will like, don't tell people at school, keep quiet, don't tell people. But now, it is what it is. Just say things how it is, and you be in the present moment.
But is that correct? Is that a good thing?
It is a good thing. I was
Why
reading
and
about,
how?
let me explain. For you to be happy in life, or for you to be fulfilled, you have to be in the present moment. So if me and you are fighting now, and we ignore it, we pile up things. And then when they explode, 10 years later, you're like, I don't know why my marriage ended. I don't know why my family did this. I don't know why my kids are like this. But you kept, every time things happen, you pile up and just hide things. And don't tell people, don't do that. But if we address things now, then we are saving ourselves for the future. We don't have to, go through this again. So if we have issues in the family, look at things and just say, you see, this is where you're going wrong. You need to change this. We need to, understand each other this way.
What are the triggers that can break those wounds? What are the triggers, like, okay, I'm healing and then something comes up, I go.
For anything, healing, everyone has their own different things they're going through. It might be trauma, depression, addiction, friendships, relationships are breaking down. But that's the first thing we didn't even mention about healing. You have to identify what it is that you're going through and accept it. Then now, when you accept it, you know what exactly causes me to be this upset, what causes me to go back to drinking, what causes me to be abusive in my marriage. So for you to sit down and really put yourself in the position where you identify these issues and not, some people don't want to look at things the way they are. You don't want to face yourself in the mirror and say, Josephine, you're doing wrong. But you'll just hide behind, oh, my mom used to do it, my father used to do it, in our family we do that. But if you really know what triggers you, then moving forward, because everything in life is emotions. Why do you get upset when people tell you you're doing something wrong? Because maybe you're doing it wrong, but you don't want to face it. So if you identify small things like...
What if you're not doing it wrong, but you're in an environment where you're accused, but you don't have a voice?
Yeah. So then you have to look at the pattern. So for example, you're dating someone, right? And every time they do something that's toxic to you and you get blamed and you feel like you're being put down every time. So you have to watch all these things, the patterns. What causes my husband to be like this every time? What causes me to get upset when my husband does? So the patterns, you have to literally just watch everything as whenever you're in a relationship or you're in a family even. So you just watch the triggers. And every time things happen, go back to the past. Because if you don't revisit your past, you will never learn anything. For example, you always...
So how do I revisit my past?
That's easy.
If I'm trying to forget my past, I'm like, I'm healing.
But that's the thing, in healing, you have to... Because they say time is an illusion, right? The future is not there, it's the present. But for you to be present now, you have to understand the patterns that you've been going through in your life, the things that you've been doing. There's things that you do constantly, from one relationship to another. The people that you date, toxic people after you, and then you don't want to look at that. But if you are a conscious person, you are conscious of yourself and your actions, you look back and say, last time when I was in this relationship, this is what I was doing and this and this. Maybe moving forward, I need to learn new habits. I need to socialize well. I need to, So not revisiting the negative, but at least looking at things and turning them into positives.
Sometimes when you think about the triggers, you think, okay, I'm not getting triggered. Maybe I have healed. But when you go again in another relationship, let's say I've been single for 2 years, I have healed. Let me go, find this person, and everything's going on. But then again, you find yourself, okay, my traumas are coming back because you have been away from that triggers and that environment, and you haven't you expose yourself those things. And these triggers can come back in any
Any form.
I mean, the time of the year, like this time I got separated, and especially these days when you have the social media, you go through all those memories. Well, last year this happened. Oh, I was with my ex. We were still happy, and those things bring back all those memories. And this is very human nature. When we break up, we are coming out of a marriage or relationship. We always look back and think about the good moments that we spent together, and then we think, oh, what happened, why I can't be with that person, we were so happy. But what we see, if you actually want to know someone, you see the actions when they are with in the bad terms with someone, the way they treat them. This is what exactly happened with me. I don't regret marrying that person. I was crazily in love with that person at one time of my life, and then the time I decided, okay, I want to choose myself. If some people want to call me selfish for this, I'm okay with that because I chose myself. And if that person, the version of that person I saw after I moved out of my house was totally different what I expected. The person I was in love with wasn't them. That person has maybe gone, or maybe I never knew that person. So even now, for example, if I find someone, and the person gonna treat me right. And I have been so programmed for the validation because I have sit with myself and I have gone back in my past and I found that yes, I have an anxious attachment pattern, and I was so clingy, I was so dependent on my husband, and this is the reason that I allowed him to be in control of me. He was very controlling. He was very manipulative, and everything I would do, I just seeking validation from him. And I was in a constant search to prove myself. No, I'm worthy of love. I can do. I'm a good wife. I'm a good mother. I am a good woman. But, and then the point I decided, no, I can't do this, because I would just go and look myself in the mirror, and I found that I have lost the girl I was maybe 10 years ago. You see, I'm a very girly girl. I like to dress up, you know.
Yeah,
We can tell.
we can tell, definitely.
I was always been very bubbly, and the person I was married to was very control freak. Let's just say why we talk about the social norms. If for someone, for me, I'll take pride dressing up, and let's you say, okay, no, you can't wear this. Well, you know exactly this is what I like.
Makes you
wearing
happy,
it.
yeah.
And if you're gonna say, okay, it's not a big deal. It's just a dress. If he's controlling, that's not a big deal, and that's okay. But for me, you're taking away my joy of life. You know, even it's been proven, if you dress well, you're having a bad day, it boosts your confidence. Yeah. But it's not about when you walk away from a marriage, from your relationship breakdown. It's never a big thing. It's always the small things. You know, always small things plays big part. And there is a saying that say, when you are served love on a silver spoon when you're young, you learn to lick it from knife. Sorry. And this is the thing, like when you're with this kind of gaslighting person, manipulative, and you always in a constant search that I want to prove myself, I need your approval, I need that love. You are so much traumatized with the behavior of that person, even when you come out of that relationship, you're still seeking validation from others.
Yeah,
from
and sometimes it's not actually coming off from the relationship or being done with it, but it's about the cost after that. And that's what you were saying before, like it's gonna cost you family, the emotional pain. First of all, you think about it and you're like, instead there are people that avoid that emotional pain, and they will just be like, okay, you know what, I'll just endure this, because they don't want to experience the emotional pain, and they don't want society to judge them, or like family members will be like watching you and criticizing you, and you're being segregated, and
I agree. There's a thing that said, in human life, suffering, so like everything that we go through, depression, trauma, suffering is something that happens, and sometimes you get addicted to it, because you're used to this husband being toxic, you're used to this life, you're used to, and then the reason most people don't heal is because they're not ready for what will come after. Yeah. Because you're so used to, this marriage life, you're used to these things, and then now you have to actually leave everything and find yourself, and it's really hard to try to, put yourself together and try again, new life, start a new chapter. And that's where most people try to avoid, that's why people don't heal. You just leave things there. You're like, look, I'll get to another marriage, I'll start a new friendship, I'll start something else, who cares? And then you get to another friendship, same things happen, because you didn't deal with the issues that happened before.
I'm telling you, 5 stages of grieving.
I love I guess continue that conversation on healing. Let's talk about DV a bit, or domestic violence. It's a plague here now in Australia. I think about 1 in 11 women are killed every week, and it's 1 in 91 men, like 91 versus 11. That is huge, and that's here in Australia. And like for women, when they hear DV, even for my kids when I was younger, not even too long ago, when I hear DV, I just go, the man is beating the woman.
Yeah.
It's physical abuse, but it's
Yeah.
beyond that. There's emotional, there's a lot to it. Like you mentioned, controlling. And a lot of women see it as, oh, as long as he's not beating me, it's okay. He pays for the bills. Or he doesn't really tell me how to spend my money, but that's not always the case. That doesn't mean, you're not experiencing that. But when do you realize that it's an issue? And when do you decide, I need to get out of this? It's no longer, functional.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I believe a woman can survive without love, but when she realizes there's no respect for me, she can't. You can't work on a relationship where you think you're not being respected. I did my best as a human being to serve the purpose of my life. I always had a perfect idea. I was a hopeless romantic person. I have 4 master's degrees. I'm still doing my 5th.
Wow! A lot of knowledge here.
I was a great student. I had a perfect job. I was earning very well by the age of 24 back at home. And then getting a job, I got married to the person that was love of my life at that time. Maybe I was so naive because I met him when I was quite young. I couldn't see those red flags, say back then. And then we got married, and I saw my perfect idea of life falling apart, and I couldn't handle it. So what I tried to do, paint a perfect picture that we are a happy family.
When did you start realizing that? Because we had life before and after marriage. Like when did you start realizing this?
Now I look back, he has been doing this even when we were dating. I didn't see it. Maybe he was being protective. Even after a few years of we got married, he always made me feel that I'm weak, and he was in charge. I'm a woman who is very feminine, and for a man to make me feel feminine, he has to be masculine.
Yeah.
Right? And when I realized, okay, you're doing 8-hour shift, I'm doing 8-hour shift. You come home and sit watch TV, and you are taking control of my finances. And even I don't want to go into details. I had toxic in-laws too. And I'm coming home, you're watching TV, I'm coming home, I'm cooking, I'm taking our kid to school, I'm taking him to other activities, I'm helping them in the school homework. If I am hustling like a man, why do I need a man? Why do I need you to just come and, manipulate me and make me feel that you're not something you should do, okay? I had big dreams, I still have, I'm working on it.
5th master's degree.
I know, right?
You're above the average person, way beyond. Go ahead.
Yeah, and when you just come home and just always make me realize that no, maybe there's something wrong with you, I'm always laughing. Even I have laughed at places where I don't even you're not supposed to. But when I was back, if you look back 2-3 years ago, I was so deep down in my head because I wasn't happy. For people, they still then when they know I have separated, why you had a perfect life, he was good, you have good money, everything, but it's not for maybe for you this is the perfect idea of a marriage that you have
gloss on the outside.
He's providing for you, you have a beautiful son and you have a house, everything, but this is not what I wanted for my life. I wanted to be myself, so where I could just express myself, and I wanted to be happy. And when I realized, no, this is not what I want, and the day I decided I can't do this anymore, and I have been putting all the efforts, because I was the one who was putting effort, and when I decided I don't want to do it, our marriage fell apart. That person didn't do anything. I was accused of stealing from my own house. I was accused of being promiscuous, of being a bad mother. Like that person tried his best to bring me down. But I was I'm so grateful I had a really good support work around me. And that was the time when I met you.
Yeah.
I even abandoned myself from everyone, all in society, because I didn't want to talk to you. This is what happens when we...
I remember when I met you for the first time, you were broken.
Yeah, I was, But I have worked a lot on myself. I had sit with myself, and I have realized where I was wrong and where I shouldn't have let that person. Why did that person had that much of control of me? Because I allowed him on the first day. On the first day he shouted at me, I should have called police. You know, but I didn't. Because I still wanted to, maybe the old me, the younger version of me, still in love with the old version of him, but not the person he is now. Because now I have come so far. I have worked on myself. I am still working on myself. Yeah.
As you said, healing is a journey.
It is a journey.
It is a
and I'm
long
still,
journey.
I think I'm still in the very beginning, you know.
So what do you think has helped you in that healing journey?
So my journey, it has been very hectic. So first month I was just closed. Even my family tried to talk to me. I would just shatter myself to myself, because I was ashamed that this is I chose for myself, and I couldn't do it. Then I started to sit with my grief. I reflect on everything, what happened. And then I realized it's not my fault. I did what I needed to do. And if it's not working, that's not my fault either. And if that person has chose to do these things, and I have chose to put myself away from him, because I don't think I'm worthy of this. I deserve so much better. I'm not saying he's a bad person. Maybe he is we are in a bad combination.
Bad match,
Yeah,
or he
bad
could be better
match.
for someone
Yeah.
else.
If you have someone who could provide you listening ear, it's really important, because in a therapy we talk about narrative therapy. When you narrate all of your story, because when you're grieving, you just sit with it and you just so fixated on the end part. It didn't work. But when
You don't
you
look back.
listen to yourself, or when you tell someone the whole story, then you try to pick the words. Okay, I did this. I was best at myself with this part. I've done this. Then you realize, no, this wasn't my fault. So the goal is not to fix yourself. The goal is to accept yourself the way you are. Okay, if it's not aligning with someone else's values, and their values are not aligning with my values, let's just try to normalize this. Okay, we don't have to make things bitter. We see relationships are to grow together.
course,
something
yeah.
to
It's
make
a
you provide
lifetime,
you peace.
yeah.
Yeah, but if that thing's not serving the purpose, then what's the point of it?
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Quite deep and emotional.
I
Yeah.
think what will help definitely in any healing and is just expressing yourself any way, any form. It could be just singing, studying another new hobby, something else. You know, they say depression is lack of expression.
Yeah.
You hide yourself, you keep quiet. No one, people ask you, is everything okay? It's all good. But if you truly want to heal from things, express it. Put it in a journal, write it, talk to people. Despite if nowadays you tell people things and they go laugh, it doesn't matter.
You can be in that moment
Yeah.
where I only have Atel to talk to. And Atel also have a friend there
Yes.
that secretly mocking.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, Atel doesn't know that she has the other person has another person
Yeah.
who then by the end of the day it
goes
comes
out.
to you. It goes back to you.
Listen, Jen, the thing is, this is what we do even in therapy. It gets to a point that you just let everything be. You say to people what they do with it, at
It's up to
least
them.
you express yourself, at least you let it go, you know. The thing is, the society nowadays tries to do that. People mock you, you go on social media, people are talking about other people. They make you feel like, oh my God, if this happens to me, then I'm dead, I'm finished.
Yeah.
But you know,
Sometimes it could be more damaging.
It
though.
could be.
That's why people tend to keep it to themselves.
Yeah.
and that's the
Yeah.
and that's the thing also now that we need to normalize bad relationships, toxic
Yeah.
relationships, issues in the community, and that's the
Yeah.
problem. People want
Normalize
to
talking about it.
talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
it and bringing it out here
Uh-huh.
even. The problem is nowadays people go on social media, you paint a perfect picture of relationships, people paint perfect marriages, perfect lives. So when you see people online, you're just scrolling and you're like, oh my
my
God, my
God.
life is
My
the
life
worst.
is so bad.
My life is the worst. I hate myself, my relationship.
I'm guilty of
You're
it.
guilty of it, see? And that's the
Oh,
thing.
really?
We should normalize
Well,
bad relationships. No one's life is perfect. Even our
one is
40s,
perfect.
we go through things. We come here, we dress nice, we smile. Life continues. You know, do what you need to do to heal from these things. Let go. I would tell you, if you want to tell people that's your problem, then me, I'm happy at least someone else knows that this is what's going on. And this is the thing, you know, like if you're going in, you have a toxic relationship, someone is beating you, someone is shouting at you, and then you keep quiet. You don't tell people. Maybe someone could help you. You know, I could come and say, Jen, look, my husband is beating me, my husband is doing this. Then Jen would be like, no, that's not right, you know. Maybe you should talk to your...
But in African home, I don't know about India, for example, they encourage you to stay in that
Yeah.
relationship.
Same in India.
They ask you,
Even
no,
in
why would you,
Africa.
every man, it doesn't matter where you go, they're all
Yeah.
cheat, they would all say the same thing. It's the same issue. So
Yeah.
you might as well stay.
Yeah.
They say, is it the devil you know, then the angel you don't know?
But that devil, you know,
sometimes-
is actually going to kill
Kill
you
you.
silently.
But if someone is treating you bad now, there's
Yeah.
nothing that will change.
Yes.
5 years from now, he'll still beat you. Because everything that happens now, it piles up into the small habits that you do, everything that you do piles up. 5 years later, it's even worse. So life is a series of solving problems. So if you don't solve the small things now, what makes you think, oh, after I have 2 kids, my husband will change? Nothing will change. That's why you have to view things as it is. What is happening now is what you need to watch. The patterns that you're having, the things that you do, the people that you interact with, everything matters. Because because they say time is an illusion. Why are you worried about 10 years? 10 years from now, maybe you won't even be here.
They think of companionship in the future.
What
Yeah.
future? What future? We are here now. There's no future. We are here. And people talk about, in my past relationship, we are here now.
Now, yeah,
If
live
you
in the
worry
moment.
about today, future is going to be sorted. If you worry about what I'm doing today, how I talk today to people, things that you do, we are sitting in this podcast now. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't need
This
to
is
know
the
5 years
reality.
from here
Yeah.
where we will be.
The
This is
current
now.
reality,
So
yeah.
if you live in the
That's true.
moment, be present at all times.
Yeah.
I think for women out there, definitely it's good to keep in mind that you're not the problem, or men, because men do go through this
They
as
do
well.
as well.
No,
Yeah.
men,
But
men
you said
actually,
one in 91,
men
the
go
less-
through it silently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is because everything is about women.
Yes.
Even if a man came out to say, hey, I'm going through this, nobody's going to believe him the way somebody would have believed a woman.
Which is unfortunate.
Which
'cause,
is so
suicide rate
unfortunate.
is
It's not
higher
good.
for men.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they
the
internalize
social-
things.
And they actually don't share much the way women do, but there are some men.
And that's why we need to normalize even for men to talk about,
Yeah.
I'm being in an abusive relationship. This is what's happening.
Yeah, we need to have that non-judgmental perspective of life,
Yeah.
relationship, and everything. Well, is it too hard? Like, if you can't, if you're not earning too well, so is it like you're unsuccessful? No, you're not.
Life is not
You-
perfect.
Yeah, so we just need to normalize things.
Yes.
And life is so easy, but we are the one who are complicating it.
Yeah.
And we are thinking more about others than ourselves.
Yeah.
You don't care what you want. You're more concerned. Oh, if I do this person's gonna talk about this.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they have their own problems to deal with. They're not gonna give care. What do you do?
But do you ever sit down and think on the other person's perspective? What am I bringing into this relationship? Is this person happy? Most people don't want to turn the mirror on themselves.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. No one will heal unless you take the responsibility and just say, look, I'm wrong here. Forgiveness, acceptance, just allow yourself to be vulnerable. And that's the thing. Most people don't want to look, now you have to apologize to a woman, you feel less masculine. Or a woman, you feel like, do I have to really apologize to this guy? But vulnerability, accepting that I'm wrong sometimes, Tell me what I need to do. Tell me
we're
what I need to
focused on
change.
I want this in a relationship. I want this. I want. What are you doing?
What are you doing wrong?
What are
Yeah.
you bringing?
What do
to
you
the
bring?
table?
What value
what
do you
values
add?
do you
Yeah.
have?
What,
No,
if you
that's
need this from your partner, then what are you providing them? So it has to be a balance.
It has to be everything. You want him to be nice to you. Are you nice to
Are
him?
you nice to him? Yeah.
For you then, Jay, what advice would you give other women out there who may be going through similar situation as you?
situation that
How would you say they could help themselves or be supported when it comes to starting or continuing their healing journey?
There's a famous quote by Dita One. They say, you can be the ripest, juiciest peach in the world, and there will be someone who hates peaches.
Yeah.
So
100%.
if you think your partner, your husband doesn't love you, you just have to find someone who loves peaches.
Yeah.
You're just in a wrong relationship, or the person, you're looking for something which is not there, and you need to embrace yourself. You need to love yourself. We always say, okay, we all have heard this thing a lot of time, that love yourself. But have you actually think, how do you love yourself? How?
You have to embrace every aspect of you, the negative, the positive, everything together. Look at yourself in the mirror and just...
It's a journey though. It's hard for a lot of people to build that confidence, to build that self-love. I was listening to a different podcast recently, and they were talking about how us as humans, men and women, we grow up, we're adults, we want to get married. Really, we're just toddlers looking for someone to help heal our traumas from childhood. That's really all it is. So you're a man, like where it's like, oh, I'm 27, I'm 37, we're getting married, we're 2 and 3 year olds.
Yeah.
Really, especially when it comes to argument, it's like siblings, and we're looking for validation.
Yes.
Everyone is...
We're all looking for validation. So how do you get to that point where you stop looking for validation from someone else? Because really, we're meant to validate ourselves. Like you said, we're meant to love ourselves. But a lot of the times, we don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
But we want someone else to do it for us. But really, it's yourself you have to look, your inner self. How do I do this?
Yes. See yourself as someone who you are crazy in love with. The version of you is different. The version of you I know. The version of Ethel I know.
Yeah.
So you know yourself more than that. You need to sit with it and say, okay, who is Ethel? She's the kind. She's beautiful. She does this. She look after the children. And then you treat that version of self as the person, the love of your life. Because rather than seeking validation, love from others, why can't we give this to ourselves? I was telling you the other day that I have never received flowers. I never received flowers.
Yeah,
But
I was shocked.
And
I was
I was thought, why can't I just go and buy
yourself
myself
flowers?
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Take yourself to a
I can
restaurant.
buy
They'll
myself
really be like,
flowers.
I do that.
Yeah.
I do that too. If I like a
Beautiful.
place, I want to go out and eat, or even just when I go out,
Yeah.
I'm not waiting for someone to take me out.
Exactly.
I go.
That's
I
it.
go out, sit alone, because I'm trying to love myself. I'm trying to, validate myself.
That's
yes,
it.
darling, you're
Yeah.
the best. You know,
Yeah.
you. And I have done a lot. If you see the last year, I was so broken, and I started my life from scratch. I walked out the house with nothing, built myself, and I'm really proud of myself.
I'm proud of you.
I'm
Thank
proud of
you.
you too, by the way.
And everyone who think they can't, but life is better on the other side. And I'm a person, I wouldn't just give up on anyone just like that. I have tried to work my marriage for 8 years, but when I'm done, okay, I'm done. I can't go back. So yeah, relationships are not easy, and you have to work hard on themselves. Like we were talking, it's like planting seeds.
You have to,
and you have to water, look after them.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a hard, and when you said we as human beings, when we get older, we think of ourselves, oh, I'm Ethel, I'm just female. But literally, I'm just the 5-year-old Josephine that is just grown up into a big body and has this beautiful outfit now, and that's it. But truly, when we go through things, then that you realize, oh my God, why am I so petty? Why am I like this? Because most of the time, you need to heal your inner child before anything happens. So whenever you go through things, you just have to identify that it's your inner child crying out.
Yeah.
It's you trying to say, Josephine, oh my God. And most of the time, they said when you're going through things and you feel like oh my God, I feel so victimized. It's because when you were younger, you didn't speak up for yourself.
Yeah.
So you have to identify things that trigger you and then go back to your childhood. It's more so everything that happens to us mostly is triggered back to our traumas, what we went through, how we were raised. So if you look at things that way, you can easily break down these things and not label them on yourself. Say, oh, I am toxic. No, it's just because your inner child is craving that validation, is seeking at least for once to stand out and people could listen to her. you know?
Yeah, definitely. It's not, when you obviously go back and revisit your childhood, it's not to point fingers. I
No.
think what a lot of us do.
Yeah.
No,
It's, oh, it was my mom's fault.
No.
My dad did
that
this.
Because you don't
but-
know what
What-
was your mom
yeah.
suffering from.
True.
You know, and they did their best.
Definitely.
Well, thank you so much, girls. Last but not least, we've been asking all our guests this question.
Yeah.
What brings you peace?
For me,
Or
I
who?
bring myself peace.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
if you are not at peace with yourself, no matter where you are, how much money you're earning, whatever you're doing, you can't be happy. So you need to bring peace with yourself. Yes, yes. I'm being I have a blessing. My son, he's 8 years old. He's such a lovely boy. Yes, it's part of peace, but you can't have peace unless you have killed your demons. What's going on inside the war that you have been fighting for so long?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
beautiful. That's great. Thank you.
For me, what brings me peace is the fact that I'm here today.
Yeah.
The fact that when I go to bed tomorrow and I wake up, that's when every day when I wake up, I'm just like, another day.
Yeah.
I got this, you know. Seeing myself, I always say, there's nothing that will make me happy. It's like, oh, in the future or something, or in the past. It's in the present. So for me to look at myself now, sitting in this podcast, something that I manifested a few years ago, and it's happening now. It's like seeing my growth, you know, comparing my life last year to my life this year.
Yeah.
I have done a lot. Comparing myself from 5 years ago and seeing what I'm doing now, the changes, the growth, that gives me peace because there's nothing else. There's nothing. Peace is not materialistic. It's what you feel inside. You know, for you to feel happy, you have to be at peace with yourself. So that's it. Just as me being here, being happy. That's it. That gives
That's
you
the point.
peace.
That's the point of life.
That's life actually. There's nothing else to it. We have-
Nothing else matter. Yeah.
Nothing matters. You can. And other thing, I had so many people saying, "Oh, my family, because the moment your peace comes from external factors, it's easier for you to be deprived of it. For example, today your family dies, your friends leave you, then you are not at peace anymore. But if your peace is from within you, you don't need to seek from anyone else. And then if they come, they add on to your happiness. Then your peace is from here. You sit in your room alone. I always do that in the middle of the night. I'm just like, God. My God is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, ticking your goals every day, like, oh my God, I wrote this 5 years ago and I'm doing it now.
That's great.
That's it.
That's beautiful.
Fulfillment
Yeah.
there.
Proud of it. Proud of all the women.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Thank you so much for joining us. We've learned a lot, and
you for
I
having
believe
us.
our viewers have learned a lot as well. And to everybody that has been watching, I hope you've picked a leaf. Until next time, see you all. Bye bye.
See ya. Bye.